We met on a train. Well, no. Actually, yes. I think that makes it sound a little too. It was a commuter train. Both worked in the city, and we were on our separate ways to work. I was at least. I think she was too.
You ever hope for something so hard it feels like you're pushing it away? It's like something magnetic, but not in the sense that people usually use that word. I mean, it's almost as if hoping for something makes that thing polarized to you. Makes it as though you're metaphysically incapable of having that thing come your way. I believed that for a really long time.
So I'm on the train and this girl, woman, starts looking at me. More precisely, I noticed her looking at me, not like staring or glaring at me or anything, but glancing at me enough that I noticed.
It was pretty immediate. I saw him, but I mean, it wasn't like I was head over heels ready to propose or anything, but it was there. Hope. I was hoping he'd ask me on a date, or that we'd bump into each other on the street later in the day, or maybe that he'd just strike up a conversation. Actually, no, it wasn't even that concrete. I was hoping for a non-specific something to happen to us.
So I suddenly make eye contact with this stranger facing me in the aisle seat about 3 or 4 seats down. You ever do that? Make eye contact with a total stranger in public? It's
like an electric current is introduced to the bottom of your feet and it just shoots through you like lightning. Just immediate tingling all over.
It's weird. Not in a bad way, necessarily. It's just, oh no, unsettling. That's not the right word for it. Disarming. That might be a better description. Like, all of a sudden, you've made this silent connection with someone you've never met, and you're kind of vulnerable for the first time, and who knows how long.
Okay, confession time. I stare at strangers a lot. I mean, I don't exactly like do it on purpose, but I don't really like look away when I realize what I'm doing. It's kind of like a hobby, sort of. And this is gonna sound really lame, but it's fun. I think it stems from this thing my dad and I used to do when I was younger. We'd go to airports when we were on vacation, and we would watch travelers like pass by, and we'd invent stories for all these people that we'd never meet.
So, cute girl makes eye contact. Rain. What's the first thing you do? Go ahead. Think about it for a minute. The first thing you do is break eye contact because you suddenly feel very nervous for no real reason at all. The second thing you do is feel your heartbeat kick up a few notches because you're hopeful, but like a scared way, sort of.
I kept looking at him. I was reading a book, paging through the corrections for the 6th or 7th time, and I was alternating between the page and his face like so often that I wasn't really taking in much of the book. And once I knew he was looking back, it heightened a little. And I became convinced for like 10 or 15 minutes of that ride that he was going to come and sit in the empty seat across from me and strike up a conversation.
Such a foreign experience for me. Making random eye contact with a stranger. Sure, it happens, but over and over, it was a little disarming. Like I said, but a little exciting. Like anything could happen. Whatever that means.
So we pull into the station, Mission and 24th Street.
We get to my stop, and I stand up, and she doesn't. She doesn't move. I remember looking at her twice. Once right when I got to my feet, and I reached up overhead to grab my bag out of the overhead compartment, and I looked back at her again real quick. She smiled at me.
He smiled at me first. I smiled.
And then I turned. I remember turning away from her, seeing her in front of me in my periphery, and then she was gone.
Well, he got off the train 2 stops before me. I smiled at him and at his back and at the doorway we walked out through. I was sad for a minute. Yeah, sure. Bummed out. Nothing happened. Nothing came of it. And I looked out the window to see if he would pass by on the platform. Well, he didn't. The train kept moving. And I thought about him one more time later on at the end of the day at the office. And I thought, standing up from my desk, man, I'd like it if I ran into him on the sidewalk. I didn't.
I went out onto that platform, up through the concrete guts of the station and out onto 20th Street. All throughout the day, she kept popping back into my thoughts. Just quick flashes of her face here and there. I went home, made dinner, went to bed. Last time I thought about her was the next morning. Chuckled about it and quickly dropped it into a dark memory hole.
I've come to the conclusion that the thing keeping my habit of staring at strangers fresh is my need for new hopes. And I'm pretty contented day to day. And I think deep down, I need to want something. So I manufacture hope in the faces of people I pass by. And some of them seem like they'd be good conversationalists. Some of them are hot. Some of them are just, pique my interest. And I never try to reach out to them because that's not the point. It's all about the hope that they'll reach out to me. Little daily interests floating from person to person, face to face, that keeps me going. I mean, which isn't to say that I live and die for these little flirtatious, fantasies or whatever. It's just, flavor. It's the spice of life, so to speak.
I think one of the most constant actions of the human brain is the manufacturing of nostalgia. Little memories, little hopes, dreams, and pleasures from the past that will lie and dormant for years to come, months at a time, till a song plays from the neighbor's radio or the smell wafts out of a restaurant kitchen and recovers it. We all do these things. We all store away these things, waiting for them to be remembered down the line.
People talk about hope like it's something inherently good, something implicitly uplifting. No. It's just something people do. It's a completely normal, utterly baffling phenomenon as implicit to human life as a heartbeat. It's like the function of breathing, just as cyclical and unending and stretched out over days, weeks, months, and years. Hopes formed, hopes held, hopes dashed, and formed again over and over, constantly until the day you die.
There isn't any other way to parse this. You've hoped for something in the past. You're probably hoping for something right now. You'll probably in the next couple days be hoping for something you haven't even conceived yet. It's a little depressing, sort of. But I think it's kind of exciting too. it's nice to know that there's always something new coming, inevitably.
New hopes.
Dreams.
Always flowing, person to person, station to station, day to day, brain to heart.
I ride that train into the city every day. I haven't seen her again. Not once. At least I don't think I have.
The next day, I got an offer to take a job I've been applying to for a year. That's all I thought about for a week. Hopes formed, hopes held, hopes dashed. Floating, person to person. Forever.